What if you could actually lock in your dream retirement by 2030 with an asset that the old guard on Wall Street is only just now starting to appreciate? And what if the amount of Bitcoin separating a bare bones retirement from a life of genuine freedom is smaller than you think? Today we're crunching the numbers on exactly how much Bitcoin you might need to fund 3 completely different retirement lifestyles by the end of the decade. So stick around, because these figures could be the key to your financial independence in this new economic landscape. So for our parents' generation, the retirement playbook seemed simple. Get a decent job, pay into a pension, build up for your 401k, and after 40 years you get a handshake and a comfortable life. That was the dream, but let's be honest with ourselves. For many of us, that dream is on life support. The traditional system feels like it's cracked at the seams. We're living through a period of historic monetary expansion. The cash you worked so hard to save is losing its buying power every single day. It feels like you're trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. You keep pouring your work in, but the value just keeps leaking out thanks to relentless money printing from central banks. We're told to trust the stock market, to just hope the S&P 500 goes up forever, but we've all seen how a sudden global crisis can erase a decade of gains in the blink of an eye. We're told Social Security will have our backs, but every new report seems to push its expiration date closer. It feels like we're standing on a financial quicksand where the old rules just don't work anymore. And this isn't about spreading fear. It's the reality millions are facing. The anxiety is real. The fear of outliving your savings, of being a burden on your family, or of working until you physically can't anymore because you have no other choice. We're all playing a game that feels rigged, where the finish line keeps moving farther and farther away. You can do everything right by the old playbook and still come up short. It's a terrifying thought, and it's what keeps a lot of people up at night. But what if there's an escape hatch? A different way to play the game and build your own financial fortress. This is where Bitcoin comes in the picture. It's much more than just internet money. It's a completely different way of thinking about value. For a growing number of people, it represents a potential shield against the relentless devaluation of our money. The power of Bitcoin comes from something incredibly simple: verifiable absolute scarcity. It isn't backed by a government you have to trust. It's backed by math. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, period. No politician can decide to print more, and no central banks can dilute its value on a whim. This digital scarcity makes it a compelling hedge in a world where traditional currencies are designed to lose value over time. It's a global permissionless asset that anyone with an internet connection can own. You don't need a bank's approval to hold it or a broker's permission to send it. You can truly be your own bank. In a world of increasing financial surveillance and uncertainty, that level of control isn't just a cool feature, it's essential for genuine financial freedom. Now let's tackle the big question, the volatility. Yes, Bitcoin price swings can be wild. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme, and it's a high-risk asset that demands a long-term mindset. But when you zoom out and look at its performance over the years, the trend has been undeniably upward. And while the early adopters were rewarded, the idea that you're too late is a myth. Many believe we're still in the early stages of this monetary revolution. The approval of Bitcoin spot ETFs has certainly opened the door for more mainstream capital, and what happens next is the multi-trillion-dollar question. So how do we turn all this potential into a solid retirement plan for 2030? To get some real numbers, we need a framework. We'll use 2 main ingredients: the classic 4% rule from traditional finance and a set of updated data-driven Bitcoin price predictions for 2030. First, the 4% rule. It's a simple guideline for the retirees. The idea is you can withdraw 4% of your total portfolio in your first year of retirement, adjusted for inflation after that, and have a very high probability of your money last for at least 30 years. So to get your target nest egg, you just need to multiply your desired annual income by 25. Want to live on $100,000 a year? You'll need a 2.5 million portfolio. It's a straightforward formula that gives us a clear target. Second, we need to project Bitcoin's future price. Of course, no one has a crystal ball, but we can ground our expectations by looking at models from respected analysts. We'll use a range of price targets inspired by research from firms like ARK Invest, which has been at the forefront of institutional analysis, while also considering broader experts' forecasts. It's important to note these are speculative, but they give us a logical foundation. So here are 3 scenarios we'll use for the price of Bitcoin in 2030. The conservative scenario, the bear case, is this. Let's say Bitcoin faces some hurdles like regulatory friction or slower than expected adaptation. We'll use a price range of 250 to 350,000 per coin. The moderate scenario, the base case, this is our middle of the road outlook where adoption continues at a healthy pace and institutional money steadily flows in. Here we'll use a price of $600,000 to $800,000 per Bitcoin. The bullish scenario, the bull case, case, this is the world where Bitcoin realizes a major part of its vision, capturing a significant slice of the global store of value market. In this scenario, we'll use a price range of $1 million to $1.5 million per Bitcoin. With these price targets and our 4% rule, we can finally calculate how much Bitcoin you'd need to stack for 3 very different retirement dreams. So let's start with the first lifestyle, the minimalist retirement. This isn't about being poor, it's about being free. This is for the person who just wants to say, I'm out of the rat race, my time is mine. It's about covering all your needs, housing, food, healthcare, with a bit left over for some travel and hobbies. No fancy luxuries, but zero financial stress. You own your time, and that's the ultimate prize. To fund this, let's set an annual income of $50,000 a year. Using the 4% rule, that means we need a total nest egg of $1.25 million. So how much Bitcoin gets you to that $1.25 million target by 2030? Let's run the numbers. So in our conservative scenario, where one Bitcoin is worth between $250,000 and $350,000, you would need between 3.6 and 5 Bitcoin to hit the goal. Now let's look at the moderate scenario with a price between $600,000 and $800,000. The target drops to between 1.6 and 2.1 Bitcoin. Suddenly, a secure, stress-free retirement could be achieved with just a couple of Bitcoin. This really shows you the power of its potential growth. Finally, in our most bullish scenario, where the price hits between 1 million and 1.5 million, you would need between 0.8 and 1.25 Bitcoin. Let that sink in for a second. In a world where Bitcoin adoption surges, owning just one Bitcoin could be enough to generate $50,000 in passive income for life. This is why you hear people talk about this once in a generation opportunity. The numbers might seem wild, but they're based on logical projections. For most people, saving over $1 million the old way is nearly impossible. But accumulating 2 or 3 or 4 Bitcoins over the next few years, that's a tangible goal. That could completely change your life. Okay, but let's level up to the comfortable retirement. This is the goal for most people who've worked hard and want to really enjoy the rewards. This isn't just about paying bills, it's about thriving. It means living a home you love, taking a few international trips each year, and pursuing hobbies without worrying about the cost. It's dining out when you want, helping your kids out, and never having to anxiously check your bank balance. It's a life of abundance. For this lifestyle, we'll aim for an annual income of $100,000 per year. Applying our 4% rule, that requires a total nest egg of $2.5 million. So how much Bitcoin do you need to build a $2.5 million portfolio by 2030? Well, starting with a conservative scenario with a Bitcoin price between $250,000 and $350,000, you would need between 7.2 and 10 Bitcoin, a serious stack but a clear goal for a dedicated save over the next 5 to 6 years. Next is our moderate scenario where the price is between $600,000 and $800,000. The required amount drops to 3.1 to 4.2 Bitcoin. Think about that. The dream of a 6-figure passive income for life could be powered by owning just a few Bitcoin. This is where the numbers start to get really powerful. But finally, let's run the bullish scenario with the price between 1 million and 1.5 million per Bitcoin. You would need between 1.7 and 2.5 Bitcoin. This is where the whole game changes. In a future where widespread Bitcoin adoption, owning just a couple of coins could be the ticket to a comfortable 6-figure retirement. This is why you see people working so hard to accumulate even one full coin. They get this math, they understand that what seems like a big investment today could feel like a pittance in the future. Okay, but let's break down the big dream. Let's talk about the luxury retirement. This is the you made it life. It's not just about financial security, it's about creating generational wealth. We're talking about a life with no compromises, maybe a home in another country, first-class travel, and the ability to make a real philanthropic impact. It's about creating a legacy that secures your family's future for decades. To fund this top-tier lifestyle, we'll set an annual income of $250,000 per year. Using the 4% rule, this requires a massive $6.25 million. In the traditional world, that's a number reserved for the absolute top-tier earners. But what does it take to get here with Bitcoin? Well, the numbers are pretty stunning. Let's start with our conservative scenario, right? With a Bitcoin price of $250,000 to $350,000, you would need between 18 and 25 Bitcoin. This is the true whale territory, a major holding. Now for the moderate scenario with a price between $600,000 and $800,000, your target drops to between 7.8 and 10.4 Bitcoin. All of a sudden, a $250,000 annual income becomes possible with a single-digit stack of Bitcoin. This is what sets Bitcoin apart. Its potential for growth completely rewrites the rules of wealth creation. And finally, the truly mind-blowing numbers emerge in our bullish scenario where the price target reaches between $1 million and $1.5 million. You would just need 4.2 to 6.25 Bitcoin. This is the ultimate asymmetric opportunity. The idea that owning just 4 to 6 Bitcoin today could become a $6.25 million portfolio, spitting out $250,000 a year in income. It's hard to even wrap your head around. It reframes Bitcoin not just just as a wild gamble, but as a strategic play on scarcity in a world flooded with easy money. And this is how new fortunes are built, by seeing where the world is going before everyone else gets there. So we've laid out the 3 lifestyles: the secure minimalist, abundant comfortable life, and the ultimate luxury retirement. The amount of Bitcoin you need could be anywhere from less than 1 to more than 20, depending on your vision and how bullish you are on its future. Now I want to turn it back to you. Which of these 3 retirement lifestyles are you aiming for? The minimalist, the comfortable, or the luxury? Drop your goal in the comments below. There's something powerful about writing it down and putting it out there. After seeing these numbers, it's easy to get carried away, but it is so important that we ground ourselves in a smart and responsible strategy. Remember, these are projections, not promises. Bitcoin is volatile, and the road to 2030 will likely have some heart-pounding rallies and stomach-churning drops. None of this is financial advice, but a way to think about your future. You should never ever invest more than you are willing to lose. Going all in on any single asset is a recipe for disaster. For many, a sensible approach involves balancing a Bitcoin position with others more traditional investments. Also, be aware that the 4% rule was designed for stable portfolios, and applying it to a volatile asset like Bitcoin comes with high risks that require careful management. The most time-tested strategy for building a position in Bitcoin is dollar cost averaging. That just means buying a fixed dollar amount on a regular schedule, daily, weekly, monthly, no matter what the price is doing. This takes emotions out of the driver's seat. It stops you from panic selling at the bottom or FOMO buying at the top, and it lets you build your stack steadily over time. Just as important is the concept of self-custody. You've probably heard the saying, not your keys, not your coins. If you leave Bitcoin on an exchange, you're trusting them not to get hacked, go bankrupt, or freeze your account. Learning to hold your own private keys on a hardware wallet is the only way to have true ownership. This path requires some learning and personal responsibility. If you lose your keys, your Bitcoin is gone forever. But the peace of mind you get from true financial sovereignty is priceless. Maybe the most powerful part of this whole idea goes beyond just your own retirement. It's the potential to build lasting generational wealth that could change your family's financial future. The wealth you could build with Bitcoin isn't just for you, it's for your kids and their kids. Imagine being able to fund their education, provide the seed money for their business ideas, or help them buy a home without crushing debt. Imagine creating a financial foundation that gives them freedom and opportunity for decades to come. For many people, this is the real mission behind Bitcoin. It's not just about escaping a broken system, it's about building a better one for your own family. It transforms investing from a defensive chore into a powerful act of creation for the people you love. So what's the best Bitcoin amount for your retirement by 2030? As you've seen, there is no single magic number. It all depends on your vision for your life. To recap, if you're aiming for a simple minimalist retirement, your target might be somewhere between 1 to 5 Bitcoins. If you're chasing that comfortable, abundant lifestyle, you could be looking at a goal of between 2 to 10 Bitcoin. And if you're dreaming of a life of luxury and building a legacy, your target could be anywhere between 4 to 25 Bitcoin. The range is wide, but the opportunity is right in front of us. The key is to understand the potential, make a plan, and start taking action. Every small purchase is a step toward a future where you are in control, and vote for a system of mathematical truth over one with political promises. You have the chance to position yourself ahead of what could be one of the biggest shifts of wealth in modern history. Don't let the noise and scary headlines distract you from the key to your own financial freedom. And if you found this breakdown helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into building wealth in the digital age. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. This is not financial advice. Remember to do your own research, and this is mainly educational and entertainment purpose.